Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We're taking a look here at Dent Wireless, and just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin to make sure we understand a little bit more about the market overall in a whole, so we can kind of make a thorough analysis. Any good trader should look at that. And if you are new to the channel, of course, thank you, of course, welcome. However, I want to make sure that you know I'm not a financial advisor, but I have years of trading experience, and my goal here is to help you become a better trader. All right, so if you benefit from that, feel free to join my Patreon community. I actually have a trading community where we actually learn and grow together as traders. But more importantly, I send out signals for every single trade that I take, and it's really cool. You have a one-click follow for the bot options there. Fantastic situation. I'm really stoked about it because the bots are new, and it's a really cool feature. Makes everyone's life easier and much more lucrative. Now we're going to take a look at first Bitcoin. One day chart, just to quickly note, we have the support and resistance channel, essentially, basically just a major support channel rather. It has basically 53,800 as a baseline and 56,000 as a top. But the bottom line here is that there's a tremendous amount of volume here working as a support in this time frame. So if you look at this here, you can see all the volume going on in this one area, and that's really helped reaffirming the fact that it's a pretty strong support. Anytime the price comes down there, it bounces right back up. Now we have a resistance of 57,500, so keep in mind we got to respect that as well. It's closed out 4 days in a row, and this new candlestick just opened. We'll see what happens here. But I'm speculating tomorrow, being Friday, we might see a retracement down to the support channel just based on the natural law of the whales taking their profits on Fridays. It's pretty common. Moving on to Dent. Now let's take a look here first of all. I have this pattern formed here because I want to kind of reaffirm that and explain to you why first. But I feel like we're going to see a breakout here from Dent soon. Now, it may not be a massive breakout like we're used to. I don't think we're going to see 1 cent here in the next week or two, but I do speculate that we're going to probably break this most recent high of roughly about 0.08 and kind of progress past that. All right. Now, just to quickly note though, let's take a look here. First of all, we're right at this awesome point where we're above both moving averages. So this one-day candlestick just closed here, right above the 200 and above the 50. Therefore, that's a very bullish sign, and that's a good sign as well. It makes sense too, based on the simple fact that this movement that we're seeing here in this wedge pattern, essentially, there's commonly a bullish jump after that, right? And now let me kind of just give you an example here, a visual example of what that looks like. Take a look at this falling wedge, natural bullish pattern, right? So this is what happens when the price comes up, it works its way down into a wedge, and then it breaks out. Now you could be asking yourself, well, what about this lower section here? What's the big deal? That's, what gives? Well, that shouldn't even be there. El Salvador, this candlestick right here on the 7th, where everyone lost about 25 to 30% of their portfolio, that shouldn't have happened, right? So therefore, this continuation should have continued to occur, and we probably would have seen a breakout earlier. However, that happened, obviously, we all know that. But now we're getting ready for this breakout. So I'm speculating a breakout from Dent soon. And the action we saw here yesterday is kind of just a precursor into that to kind of show that we're reducing that funnel size and essentially preparing for a breakout. That's my guess. That's my speculation. I foresee that happening soon. Now, is it going to break out and just go straight to the moon? No, definitely not. I wouldn't anticipate that. But what it should do is break this resistance level here that's been very difficult to break, right about 8 cents. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We'll probably see a break above to come up here to maybe test that and then break out. Great news here as well. See the RSI back up over 70. It's a fantastic sign. Correction, back up over 50, under 70. So when it's between 50 and 70, that's kind of a bullish zone essentially, and that really helps us understand that the momentum has shifted from bearish to bullish. Now, it's been above 50 for some time, don't get me wrong. It's been above 50 for the last week or two. But that's what's allowing it to make higher highs and higher lows, okay? Now, granted, we've only seen a higher low and a higher high, right? So this push here has to come up higher than the most recent high in order for this continuation to occur. So just get ready for that. Is there guarantees it's going to happen? No, not necessarily. But why don't we take a look at the rest of the chart and find out? Now, what's cool here is instead of getting a bearish divergence, we see a bullish convergence, right? So we had a MACD essential convergence because that bounced off of the 26, the exponential moving average on the MACD, and it essentially just continued the price upwards, right? So instead of retracing further, it's kind of showing signs of a potential breakout. Now, price is above the 50 and the 200 as well here. So this is also a good sign, reaffirming the fact that we're above both moving averages. All good things, point upwards when you see this happen. Furthermore, we're above 50 on the RSI, also as well. We had a recent convergence on the MACD, which I prefer to use the MACD on the 4-hour chart overall because it gives us, it's a quicker signal, it works better. If you're new to swing trading, just generally speaking, this is probably like the most important fundamental catalyst you could ever use, right? In other words, this, anytime you see this here, it's going to preface basically a larger breakout. And what's happening, and the reason why it's converging is the 12 is intersecting with the 26 in an upward fashion. It's essentially signaling the bears have lost control here. So you can see all this bearish volume and it's switched over to bullish volume. So this little inception point here creates that bullish convergence that shifts, the momentum from bearish to bullish. In turn, you want to get on board if you're going long, right? Obviously, you're shorting, different story. But most of us go long on our positions, and just generally speaking, that is always a positive. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now moving on to hold on, let's actually mark that first. What time was that convergence? We had a convergence at 2100 on the 12th. So I just like to show you something here, because if you're new to the channel, awesome, obviously welcome, appreciate it. But more importantly, we look at the 1-hour chart, we can see a direct correlation with the 4-hour MACD convergence. Okay, so it's really obvious in most cases. Take a look here. Right at this point where we got the 4-hour convergence on the MACD, that was telling us literally 4 to 6 hours before the price broke above the cloud that we had a buy signal, right? So whether or not you took the MACD convergence or you took the price breaking above the cloud on the 1-hour chart, both, all roads lead to Rome, right? Or whatever the analogy is there. It's a double rainbow is what I refer to it as, because we get two really awesome things back to back, kind of just confirming you're moving in the right direction. So these are things that I look for in my signal community, where I send out signals, and I bear my average about 85% with my signals. Every time I send one out, it almost always has to have this indication, or it has to have other obvious factors that contribute. But this is one of the things that I look for. And if you're new to just say the cloud in general, when the price breaks above the cloud, is considered a buy signal. So this is a buy signal here. And had you just say bought in when the price broke above the cloud, you could have gotten upwards of 10 to 15%, even if you sell right now, which is a great gain in my opinion. Personally, coming from traditional trading years ago, you would be happy with a 5 to 10% gain in a day. Nowadays, people are so stuck up, they have to diamond hand everything, and they want to see 50 to 70% gains all the time. That's not necessarily the case. That's not how you build a portfolio. You build it slow and steady. Okay. Now 10% would have been awesome. And in retrospect, look, the price came below the cloud, right? This is the time it broke below the cloud. You could have shorted from there all the way to the bottom and got an extra 17%. Granted, it probably would have been more like 10 or 12. You sold at the right time, well before it got to the bottom, but generally speaking, that's how it works. Okay. So do yourself a favor and utilize the cloud moving forward. It's most effective on the 1-hour chart. Don't let anyone else tell you anything different. And again, not to say that I'm the bee's knees, right? It's just that it works very well for me. This is my system. I'm a patient trader, and I like to make sure to ensure that I take profits when I can. And we always do that in my community, right? We make sure to take profits and celebrate the wins. And heaven forbid we take a loss, which does happen 15% of the time. We learn from it. Okay? That's the key. Never revenge trade. That's rule number, I don't know, one of many in trading. It's important not to do that. Last thing we want to look at here is TD sequential, which really ultimately is not going to tell us much. We can see that we had a bit of an overextension here, though. In fact, a major overextension. Because if you look here at Dent, see we got this 1 to a 9, and we got a small period of consolidation, reset. Okay, then we got this 1 all the way to a 9 here as well. What we should have saw was a reset. It usually should go sideways or consolidate. However, it just continued to keep going up and up and up, right? And that's where the MACD convergence kind of pushed the price up even further. And that's all well and good, fantastic. And what's even better here is the price, yes, it's coming down, but it's coming back up. We're starting to see those higher highs and those higher lows. So all good things leading into an ascending wedge pattern, so to speak, a bullish ascending wedge pattern. So I foresee this being very, very beneficial for Dent. I think we'll definitely see 1 cent again this year, but is it going to be tomorrow? Probably not. Most of the time when we see a breakout like this, it'll travel to the next major resistance level and then kind of hang out there for a little while. So if all goes well, we can come spiking up here. We go from 6 to 8, essentially, 0.006 to 0.008, and then we break that, to the upside, right? Because again, there's still plenty of room to go here, right? Dent can absolutely take off if it wants to. But all we got to do is break this most recent resistance level, and then I think it's going to be open season to the next major resistance, which sits somewhere around 1.1 cents. Let's go ahead and mark that here. We see a lot of volume right there. All right. So there you have it. Hopefully you found benefit. And if you'd find even greater benefit from walking alongside me in my crypto journey and all of our crypto journeys, we've got over 50 members already in just about 3 months. Consider joining the Patreon account. I have a link in the description below for an explanation, so you can kind of understand what it entails. But I basically have I send out every single trade that I take with my community, and of course there's a one-click follow option for the bots. It's completely optional, of course, but it makes things a lot easier, so you can just kind of follow along with the same trading style and learn a lot from it. That's the whole point. Everyone's learning quite a lot, and it's growing rapidly. So I love it, enjoy it. It's the best thing to happen to me and my community, so feel free to jump in there if you'd like. Regardless, thank you so much for your time here today. I'll look forward to seeing the next video. You all take care now. Thank you. Goodbye.